Okay guys, this is week 87. As you know, it's probably going to be a little bit of a trial and error thing here. I'm in a new room. I'm in a new setup. I'm sorry to the Patreon supporters because this will probably be, usually you'll get it Tuesday. You might not get it till Thursday. It'll still be a little early. I'm Excuse King 3 weeks in a row. I've had, so much to do with moving and a lot of stuff like that. But I have a couple things I want to address right off the bat. On my top 25, I forgot one because the year on Letterboxd said 2016 and I was a dummy and I did my research very well. In memory of the Eric Stanze movie. That definitely would have made my top 10. Love that one. And I forgot one for the bottom 5. A Taste of Phobia. Definitely would have made it. That was an awful anthology. I couldn't stand it. What else do I have to address? And unfortunately, I don't have my little piece of paper sheet because I don't have internet till tomorrow, so I can't use my Wi-Fi printer to print off things, so I'm going to be looking at my phone to keep my notes and everything in order, the questions and whatnot, so I apologize for that in advance. As you know, this is the Animal Attacks, special. So there's 5 Animal Attacks movies, including the VHS Voyage, but to pick a movie I couldn't determine, obviously I couldn't pick that as an Animal Attacks movie, so that one is not. But I guess we'll hop right into this. The first one I'll be reviewing is from 1976. It's pretty fun. It is Dogs. Yep. From Scorpion Releasing. I had never seen Dogs. In fact, most of these Animal Attacks movies I had actually never seen. Dogs. Okay, this is kind of a strange movie here. We have starring David McCallum, I think is the actor, most famously known from The Great Escape, where Charles Bronson stole his wife then and made her his wife, Jill Ireland. So that's where I know the actor from. And it also stars Colonel Sanders from Spaceballs. Pretty much didn't recognize anyone besides that. The story of Dogs follows scientists that are on this college campus, and they're starting to do kind of research. One of the scientists thinks that possible that mammals can sort of form this secular brain like insects such as, wasp and bees and ants. So that's kind of his theory. And of course what happens with these dogs is that's kind of happens. They become this single mind, and they start attacking and ravaging this small town. This movie is filled with morons. Almost everybody's a complete idiot, and there's strange characters. Like there's a heavy guy who, of course, he goes and sneaks food during this whole crazy thing. We have the Jaws ripoff. You're gonna notice there's a lot of Jaws ripoffs in this kind of video and in Animals Attacks genre in general, especially from the 70s and 80s after Jaws. It was a huge hit, and everybody did this. So essentially, we have a guy, the college president, who doesn't want to inform anyone that there may be killer dogs running amok, and that's similar to the mayor in Jaws, who's like, we can't say anything like that. We're going to lose tourist season. It always happens. It's always there. We can't say anything about this. We'll lose money. We can't say anything about a giant alligator, or crocodile on the resort. We'll lose money. Almost all these movies are like that, and then Dogs is no exception. The dogs start picking people off, and the opening's pretty cool because we have this neglected dog by point of view walking around. Everybody's, get away, go, go. And it runs out, and then they have this elaborate shot where all the dogs from the neighborhoods are running together and running in this cool pack. The pack, which is another one I should have watched, but I didn't. So that's like the opening of the movie. I thought it was kind of refreshing that the heroes of the movie are literally scientists that aren't like built to fight and built to do anything. The sheriff in the movie's a moron. Of course, these good old boys are like, we're going to go out and take care of the dogs ourselves. And then, of course, you know the story. But the sheriff literally watches guys getting eaten by these dogs. Instead of walking up and shooting them and risking maybe hurting one of the people, he just stands there like, and everybody dies, and then he runs away, and you know what happens to him after that. It's just ridiculous. I noticed a lot of dumb people in the movie, but it never didn't stop my enjoyment. Because these movies obviously are fun because they're using real dogs and real effects and whatnot. And CGI and that whole attitude of isn't it so bad it's great ruin the Animals Attacks movies. That's the genre that suffered the most. I don't watch any of the new ones. They just don't catch my interest unless I hear everybody and their brother say it's good. But Dogs is fairly decent and a downbeat ending. And I couldn't really believe what they did. I was pretty downbeat. And that's kind of a reoccurring thing with a lot of these killer animal movies. Do I recommend Dogs? I'd say so. I'd say it's like a 6.5 out of 10. It's fun. It's not the best killer animal movie, but it's in the running for maybe the best killer dog movie. I don't know, you got Cujo, Man's Best Friend, The Pack, which I haven't seen. There's another one, Dogs of Hell. There's tons, so maybe not. But Dogs, check out the trailer.
there soon. Will you be ready?
You asked me to notify you if any more of the cattle were killed. Larry Ludicky just called, and he's had it with these killings.
Well, it's not coyotes.
Wolves, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Starting last month, some cattle were killed. They belonged to Larry Ludicky. Now he's been killed.
And you know who did it?
No. And it's not a who, it's a what. I think something is causing domestic dogs to pack and attack people.
Don't mind as the president of this college, you have the responsibility of the lives of everyone here. 2 people have been killed already. One of them a student.
By what? It's terrible, yes, but you have no evidence it was done by dog.
The hell is that?
What's that noise?
Let's get out of here.
It happened once. It could happen again. It could happen where you live. Will you be ready for dogs?
Okay, guys, the next one. Man, I'm so glad I got to watch this one for the Animal Attacks. It is Day of the Animals. I never watched this one. It's by William Girdler. This is also a Scorpion releasing movie. William Girdler was a very prolific director who died at 30 in a tragic helicopter accident. He had done tons of stuff before this. He did Grizzly before this. This is another great Animal Attacks movie with Richard Jekyll and Andrew Prine. And I believe Christopher George is in it as well. And he did stuff like The Manitou later on. He was prolific. He did like 7 or 9 movies before he was 30. And then he died, so it's just tragic. Day of the Animals is the best movie I saw he ever did. What we have here is the ozone layer. This is an ecological horror, which is also a theme in Animal Attacks movies. We have an ecological thing here. The ozone layer is becoming thin because pollution and whatnot. So the higher the altitude the city, the more dangerous it is for them, because what happens is the animals start being affected by the ozone layer, and sometimes even people. We have a group of campers filled with a bunch of familiar faces and a bunch of fun characters, including Leslie Nielsen, Christopher George, who's their guide, Andrew Stevens, who pops up in like two Charles Bronson movies, Death Hunt and 10 to Midnight, and became a producer later on. So we have a nice little cast in there, and that's not the only one. There's also some other familiar faces in here. And you'll notice that the young child in here is actually played by a 25-year-old man, similar to what they did in Burial Grounds, which is very kind of disturbing. Anyways, the group gets preyed upon by all sorts of different animals, birds, bears, cougars, all sorts of stuff. And it becomes a crazy pack of wild dogs. It becomes this crazy fight for your life survival movie where they got to keep running to different locations. Yeah, also, like I said, Richard Jekyll, did I mention he's in this? He's also in this. So it's got a lot of actors I like. Christopher George has got that grouchy kind of voice going on. And I love the story. But what steals the show for me in this one is Leslie Nielsen. At one point, Leslie Nielsen is a jerk the whole movie. He's like this insurance guy, and he is such an asshole. And he is so funny, and what happens to him is probably one of the greatest cinematic moments in any Animal Attacks movie I've ever seen. The setting is raining. He's gone nuts. He's shirtless. He's become a rape monster. And a bear shows itself, and there's only room for one alpha male on this mountain, according to Leslie Nielsen's psyche at the time, and it's a wonderful scene. You'll also recognize the lady from The Baby. She's in this, and she gives a great performance. She's actually the little child, the man-child's mother. But regardless, Day of the Animals is a lot of fun. There's good action. There's a wide variety of animals. There's some funny moments. The sheriff is very likable. They have quirky characters. It's just really one of the best films I saw in a long time, and highly enjoyable. One of the best Animal Attacks movies there is out there, and it's a treat to see all these actors fight off tons of animals. Again, it looks dangerous. Again, it looks crazy. All sorts of stuff going on. Really recommend this one. Great stuff. Probably 8 out of 10. Loved it.
Linda knows that something is out there. Something so evil it penetrates the soul. Something lurking in the black of night, so real she can almost taste it.
Something is out there. And it's coming closer and closer, and something is out there. So terrifying, you've only seen it in your nightmares. Rated PG.
What begins as a pleasant day of hiking in the woods becomes the day of the animals.
Okay, guys, the next one here is from Code Red, and this is Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner and Woody Strode, of all people. That's right, Woody Strode, guys. Okay, so I put this in, and I was like, well, I'm a fan of Shatner. A lot of people, you know, they think he's too cheesy, they think he's too hammy. I like him. I'm not a big Star Trek guy, but I like watching Shatner, and Woody Strode's great. This story follows, this is strange. You gotta have a killer insect movie in the animals attacks thing. But we have this prize cow that's going to be entered in this contest. You know, the contest they have at these like kind of rural areas. And he gets sick all of a sudden, and they think it's some sort of plague or contagion, but realize that it's from spider bites. And they soon find that this town is infested with these spiders that had been pushed out of their natural territory by insecticide, so another ecological horror. And this one is pretty crazy. We have like this small isolated town, reminded me of Tremors a lot because they're stuck out there, and William Shatner he's not a sheriff, he's also involved with science, and he meets this girl who he sent away the sample to, and she's big into insects and toxicology, so they come in and they start to investigate, and then realize there's tons of spiders, and they're dangerous, and they're violent. That's pretty much the plot. That's the setup. It becomes a siege movie at one point, similar to stuff like Night of the Living Dead, where they're trapped in this house and they have to fight off, you know, spiders. It's really great. Shatner gives a great performance, and sometimes the spiders will fall on him and be like, ah! It doesn't even seem like he's acting. There is some real killing of the spiders, and it doesn't seem like it's intentional. You can tell, like, sometimes they're running or trying to avoid stepping on them, but they'll step on them. They'll run them over. That's according to the Spider Wrangler. He talked about it. So it looks really good. All these movies actually were really well remastered and everything. And but I love Shatner in this one. I love the concept. And this is one of the darkest endings I've ever seen. And it's just a great post-apocalyptic movie. Well, it's not necessarily post-apocalyptic, but the small town and everything like that. It's a lot of fun. And the ending has this chaotic shit hit the fan scene, which I did not expect to see, and I was amazed to see it. This and like Day of the Animals become like post-apocalyptic for these small towns at times, and it becomes this chaotic moment, and I just love those moments. And Kingdom of Spiders has some of the best, and I was surprisingly violent. Bud Cardos did this movie, and I think he was like kind of like a stuntman. He used to fly and do locations and stuff behind the set, so he knew how to use the camera, he knew how to make movies, and there's some good camera work in here as well. But really highly recommended again. Probably like a 7.5 out of 10. I love these things, and this one's one of the better ones. And it went up dramatically at the end with that one when they showed the town in shambles, and it shocked me. And there's a great sheriff in this one as well. You can't have a good small town horror animal attacks movie without a great sheriff. And Woody Strode is always a pleasure to see, and you feel bad for him and his wife and everything.
An unknown species of horror is born as science fiction becomes science fact.
If you find any problems out there at the Colby place,
Just keep it to yourself.
He's over at Colby's. He's found another 20 or 30 hills just like the one we burned.
I mean, this right here is scientific phenomenon. As you know, all species of megalomorphs are cannibalistic. If you put them together, they'll kill each other off. They just don't colonize like ants or bees do.
An army of deadly predators, searching, destroying anything in their path. Why did they come? What do they want? In the tradition of the great science fiction thrillers, Dimension Pictures presents Kingdom of the Spiders, starring William Shatner, Tiffany Bowling, Woody Strode, and introducing Alta Reese Davis.
The spiders in this area have organized themselves into an aggressive army.
I've never seen anything like it.
One minute they weren't there, and the next minute they were everywhere.
Jump, atta girl!
listen, there's thousands of them out there. We'll never make it.
Why haven't we heard from the sheriff? He must know we're trapped in here.
I'm telling you, I don't think we should chance it.
Your nightmares will never be the same. Kingdom of the Spiders. The next victim could be you.
Okay, the next one is a killer snake movie, or is it? Maybe it's kind of a devil movie, but it is Spasms by William Fruet, aka Mood's dad. I'm just throw that out there if you guys don't know. That's just the inside thing if you don't listen to 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. But Spasms, this one stars the late, great Oliver Reed. Love Oliver Reed. He's amazing. And Peter Fonda as well. And Al Waxman from class of 1984. The director had worked on stuff like Blue Monkey and Death Weekend and Funeral Home. So he was pretty much, he's one of these guys that's done a lot of movies and doesn't really get the recognition he deserves. So he's one of the underrated exploitation horror directors. But Spasms, the plot is a mouthful. It is insane. What we have here is Oliver Reed was injured in some sort of weird hunting expedition where his, someone he was with was killed. And he was injured by this weird snake that comes back every 7 years, and it's sort of devil where the people worship it. Because he was injured and bitten by the snake and survived its venom, he has a bond with the snake, and he can see psychically through it. This drives him mad. He is a very rich man. He wants to bring this snake stateside and keep it captured. He has Peter Fonda use his facility because he's a kind of a psychiatrist. He works in the college, and this weird cult wants the snake because they want to worship it. That's when Al Waxman comes in. He's a scuzzy private eye, one of the great performances of the movie. Very funny, very stereotypical scuzzy kind of private eye, kind of dick kind of guy being hired. But there's also an Anton LaVey character who runs the cult. He's this evil guy who worships the snakes. So they all want the snake. It's a big snake. It looks creepy. It looks pretty cool. They don't show it all the time. They go to the Corman School for that. They don't show the monster too much. But Oliver Reed's going crazy. And did I mention when the snake bites you, you swell up and sometimes you explode? The snake is violent. You get snake-o-vision. It goes around ripping people apart. They manage to squeeze in completely gratuitous nudity for no reason. Like, hey, yeah, the snake's going to attack sorority now and there's some girl in the shower. Who cares? But regardless, some of the scenes in here are incredibly violent, and some of the snake attacks are brutal, and I was surprised at how the snake would thrash and throw people around. I was highly impressed with that kind of stuff. I thought it was pretty brutal, to be honest. And the special effects are good, the makeup's good, and there's great weird stuff with Oliver Reed and a psychic bond where they have him tied up to a chair, and he's like, he's swelling, he's growing, and just stuff like that, and you're like, this is so ridiculous. And if it would have been a lesser actor, not on Oliver Reed's intensity and caliber, it would have been so bad. Like, just get an actor in who's like, oh, here we go, stupid snake movie. Like, Oliver Reed might have been like that off the set, but when he was in there, he's like, all right, I'm in it. I'm going to kill this fucking snake. And he got into it, and it's a good performance. Peter Fonda's solid. I like it. It's pretty good. I'm going to go with a 7.5 again because the moments of the violence in here are really cool. And I love the idea that it's so big with the cult and Al Waxman and the picking up the snake across country and lots of crazy stuff. This is better than I remembered. This is the only one I think I had seen. And it's been so long. I'm glad I got to rewatch it. This Blu-ray in particular has like one of the reels, or some of the reels were damaged. So most of it's in HD and looks great, but there's a couple moments that aren't perfect. But still well worth your time if you like killer snake movies or killer animal movies in general.
Tell us what you see, Jason.
I see him. He's changing. Oh, he's bloating. He's bursting apart.
An experiment in telepathy leads scientists to a primitive Pacific island where a new source of evil is discovered, captured, and transported to the civilized world.
Hey, what are you doing? I know what I'm doing.
Now the search begins. The evil stalks. Spasm. You scream. you explode. Spasms. The terror is out of control.
Okay, guys, the next one is the VHS Voyage, and I cheated a little bit because this is the Laserdisc of a movie called Strays. Yes, this is a 1991 killer cat movie. I can't have a killer dog movie and not do a killer cat movie. But okay, Strays. Surprisingly more serious and well made than I expected. I was like, oh, this is going to be really stupid. And it reminds me of like Leprechaun. I don't know why, in that isolated area, and they find these snakes in this kind of like rundown house. Not rundown house, but old house, kind of isolated. This is a plot of, I believe he's a lawyer and his wife. They move into this new house, but they don't realize that what was there before was being fed by some old lady. And there was an evil cat that was like their ringleader. It killed the old lady. It's still running around the town, this house, and some people start to get hurt. Some people start to die, and it's up to them to fight this cat. That's the plot of the movie. It's not overly gratuitous. It's not overly violent. It kind of puts it at like a PG-13, I believe it's at. And there's only a couple deaths. The deaths aren't like overly gory or not, but they managed to do a pretty good job. In the opening of the movie, they kind of screwed it up. I thought that the idea that maybe this old lady was feeding these cats, she ran out of food, the cats turned on her, would have been a better way to make these cats go feral instead of just having an evil cat right off the bat. I was like, you know, the movie's fairly like, tries to be realistic. I know it's not realistic, it's just a movie, but that idea was just the only time they really jumped the shark in the beginning. This cat is just evil. But there's a really great moment where they call a veterinarian because their dog was hurt by one of the cats, and the veterinarian is actually played by the if anybody's a big fan of The Hidden, this is kind of obscure, not the movie but the reference. One of the guys who's possessed in The Hidden is this older gentleman who ends up picking up the boombox and like farting, and he has like the bad heart in the hospital. He's in this, and he gives a great comic performance as the veterinarian, and he's really funny, and it was great seeing him, and I recognized him while watching it, and I was like, that's the guy from The Hidden, and it's a great performance in both these movies. He's really a treat to see that guy, because I haven't seen him, I don't remember him too much. I know I've seen him in other things, but he doesn't come to mind all the time. Kathleen Cleveland's in this, so that's kind of funny as well, but there's also this element of a lawyer drama because he's representing his wife's sister, and his wife's sister kind of has a thing for the lawyer, yada yada yada, that's going on. The family's pretty likable, the husband, the wife, the kid. And they set up some genuine scares, and I like the setting of the house with the rain at points in the movie, and like water is what keeps the cats away. It's stupid if you think about it for more than 30 seconds, but there's only so many ways to skin a cat when you're making a killer cat movie, if you know what I mean. Not bad, not great. I would recommend it. I'm probably coming in at like a 6 out of 10 for Strays. I'm pretty generous when it comes to killer animal movies because I do enjoy them quite a bit.
The Jarretts have finally found their dream house.
Well, it does have a certain charm in an Amityville kind of way.
Now, it's about to become their worst nightmare.
You know, what you found in your bedroom sounds like dominant male, marking his territory.
So what are you telling us? We have a wildcat living in our backyard?
They've been around people all their lives, so they're not afraid at all.
Anybody home?
They have 9 lives. We only have 1. Kathleen Quinlan, Timothy Busfield, Claudia Christian, and William Boyette. Strays.
Okay, guys, the pick a movie is Midnight Express from 1978. This movie won a lot of awards, and for good reason. I always wanted to see this one. It stars Brad Davis, brother of Gene Davis. Brad Davis is the more famous of the brothers, but he died very young and very tragically. But Gene Davis is his brother. You guys might recognize him from 10 to Midnight, Black Eagle, Cruisin'. So, Brad Davis, this is based on a true story. I don't know how accurate the true story is, but he's in Turkey, and he's trying to smuggle some hash on a plane. He gets caught. He gets sent in the Turkish prison system, and it is hell. That's all I can say. It is a corrupt country at the time because there's turmoil between the United States and Turkey during this drug smuggling stuff. So he gets the book thrown at him. He's sentenced to 4 years at first, and he keeps getting bad news and bad news. And you watch him change as an actor and as a character. He starts off with this long hair, kind of this bright-eyed kid who's nervous and, you know, I'm not going to eat it, stuff like that. And at first he seems very confident until he's on his way to get caught. But after that, you see him become run down, beaten down, even crazy, dirty, and go ballistic. At one point he goes ballistic and attacks someone, and the way it's shot, the camera's going everywhere, jumping around and moving, and it's really changes the entire mood of the movie. The cast is tremendous in here. You'll recognize, anybody will recognize Bo Hopkins. He has a good little scene in here. And fellow prisoners John Hurt and Randy Quaid, which was really interesting to see. And Randy Quaid is one of these guys that pops up in a lot of good 70s roles, and he never got the recognition he deserved, I don't think. He pops up in stuff like The Last Picture Show, Breakout. He just had this, The Long Riders. He had this career before he was this comedic actor, and now people are like, oh, he's crazy. I mean, I always thought he was, when realizing I'm actually not always, I always thought he was this comedic actor, but within the last few years, I've noticed him pop up in all these 70s movies and realize how good he is and how interesting of an actor he is. He kind of plays this crazy, aggressive guy who's always trying to escape. Besides that, we have Paul Smith playing the head of the prison guards, the big mean guy, and he's perfect in that role. It's well cast, it's well acted, and I really like the lead in the movie and the narration and everything about it. It's a great movie about, you know, just struggling to survive in a horrible prison, and it's also maybe a little bit of culture shock in here. There are some funny moments at times, the way that they deal with revenge, because they call it Turkish revenge. If you hurt somebody or piss somebody off, they stab you below the waist in the ass, because that's technically not attempted murder. That's just a regular assault. So that's Turkish revenge, is stabbing someone in the ass. But there's this character in here named like Rafif. I can't think of what his name is, but he is an absolute piece of garbage. You hate him so bad. He reminds me a lot of the character of Unger from The Longest Yard. But regardless, I would recommend checking out The Midnight Express or Midnight Express. It is a great movie. It is a masterpiece, really, and Brad Davis gives a tremendous performance. I haven't really seen too much movies he was in. He died at 41 in like 1991, and I'm probably the only guy in the world more familiar with his brother. But they were an interesting acting pair. I mean, they didn't act always together, but I enjoy their work that I've seen, and I would recommend checking out Midnight Express. It goes places that you wouldn't think it would go. Great, great movie.
It's impossible to imagine a more exciting film, says Rona Barrett. Rex Reed called it a colossal triumph. Months before its release, it stunned and overwhelmed a special preview audience. It's the movie they couldn't wait to talk about. The movie is Midnight Express. He was a 20-year-old American boy, up against a system he didn't understand, spoken in a language he couldn't speak. He was beyond the help of his parents and the power of the United States government. And yet, he triumphed. His name is Billy Hayes. His story is true. And his ordeal is so incredible, it will change you forever. The movie is Midnight Express.
Okay, we're going to get into the pick a movie. The last movie that was picked was kind of an odd one. I hadn't heard of it. I bought it, but I don't know if we'll make it in time. So maybe I'll watch it illegally online, and I already paid for it. Does that sound shady? Would you guys do that? If you bought it and you had to watch it at a certain time, would you watch it online after you paid for it? I don't know. Maybe I can find it to rent somewhere. Who's going to win the pick a movie? We got Brad Hominin. Let me know also if this camera setup's good. I think right here on my face is a little too dark, and I think that the backlight's kind of making it look kind of crummy. But let me know. What else do we got? What's going to be hopping next? We're going to hop into the questions. I have to use my phone, which I'm sorry, again, I can't print anything off. So, questions. Wiley Merrill, favorite Vinegar Syndrome /7 releases of 2018. Okay, my favorite Severins were Combat Shock, Zombie 3, Zombie 4, and Threads. Lots of great stuff from Severin. They've been doing a lot of this Euro horror stuff, which I dig. Anything Euro horror I love, but Combat Shock, Threads, Zombie 3 and 4, I love that kind of stuff. And as for Vinegar Syndrome, Mausoleum, that was fun, and Bloodhook, because it was so ridiculous when I'd never seen it. Both those were movies I knew about for years and never had a chance to watch, so when Vinegar Syndrome put them out, I was like, now's the time. Okay, Nick Moole, what kind of character would you like to play in a horror black comedy, or would you rather direct horror comedy? If so, which tropes would you poke fun at? I don't know if I would poke fun at any tropes in distinct. I think that stuff comes subconsciously. I wouldn't really think about it. I would let it roll, and when it started coming to me, I would go with it. I mean, I'd have to be at the moment and have the script and figure out what I was going to write about before I'd play on the tropes. So I don't know what I'd go with. As far as a character in a horror black comedy, I'd like to play a pair of like kind of bumbling like criminals that gets caught in a bad situation, you know, something like The Cottage, or that would be fun. I would like to play the one who thinks he's smarter than the other one, but in reality is just as big idiot. Maybe like an abusive one that constantly hits the other one. Because I kept thinking of this scene that would be very funny in like a Quentin Tarantino-esque movie. We can go more horror with it, where the duo is arguing, and one guy says, "Come here, man. I can't hear you. Come on, closer." And then when he gets closer, he just slaps him like that with his hand. I just thought that would be very fun. I don't know. I'm talking on my ass. Okay, and he also has, which revenge movie really touched a nerve with you? Do you believe in revenge or forgiveness? Once Upon a Time in the West, that revenge is great. The line in Tombstone where Kurt Russell says, "I see a red sash, I kill the man wearing it." That whole speech he gives him when he says, "You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me." You hear? I love that. When family members get killed or stuff like that, that always touches a nerve with me. So, Once Upon a Time in the West comes to mind. Do you believe in revenge? I probably would never get revenge. Unless, if like, my significant other was killed, or my mom and dad were killed, and I didn't have anyone that relied on me to live. Like, if I didn't have kids, like, or anything like that, and, like, my whole family was wiped out, I'm getting revenge. I got nothing to lose at that point. Like, The Revenant? Why not? But most of the time I wouldn't do anything just because I would want to let my family down. Say a studio wanted to hire you, would you direct a movie that you're not gung-ho about first before going to do what you really want? I would never get hired by the studio. But like the $1 Million Man says, everybody has their price. So I would for the right amount of money. I'd direct a commercial about, smallpox. Hey, I'm just kidding. No, I'm being serious. I probably would direct it with the right price. Unless I already had money, and then I probably wouldn't. Okay. We have some answers for the question last week. I asked who's your quintessential antihero? And Peekaboo said Gojira or Godzilla. Why? Because he was created as a monster. That's where to deal with atomic energy, the fear of it, but became so popular that in Shin Godzilla, for example, people in the streets in the movie cheered for him and screamed Godzilla is God after the military wanted to kill him. Also, there's a fun meme on the internet that says if you watch the original movie backwards, it becomes a peaceful monster who rebuilt a city. All hail Gojira. Be safe and hope you feel better soon. Thank you. What else do we have? We have Viper Rose 78. My top 3 anti-heroes are pretty much any Steve McQueen role, but more specifically The Getaway, and a double nod to Bronson's Paul Kersey, and Yul Brynner in Westworld. And I definitely agree with the new Death Wish. I quite enjoyed it and thought Willis did a great job. Wiley Merrill. Todd McFarlane's Spawn is my favorite anti-hero. Stone cold badass killer Spawn from the depths of hell who doesn't take shit from anybody. Spawn is pretty cool. Al Simmons, right? Okay, Nick Mua, boring answer perhaps, but the Count of Monte Cristo, a.k.a. Edmond Dantes. He took names and collected. Sure, there was some collateral damage, but hey, what you gonna do? Hannibal Lecter also comes to mind. Discourtesy is unspeakably ugly to me. Best quote ever. Peter Englund, the werewolf or the Wolfman is the quintessential anti-hero for me. That's a good one. I think the Universal monsters are all good. And then we have Jonathan Wilma. As far as any anti-hero, Ash from the Evil Dead movies. Quintessential badass. That's not such a good person. There we go. Okay. And the new question of the week comes brought to you by Matt Brown. He wants to know, what are your general thoughts about Kino Lorber, the distribution company, your favorite releases, and which releases are you looking forward to? So, okay, guys, let's hop into the update. Okay, guys, let's let's hop into the update. The first one is The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. Heard about this on the Pure Cinema podcast. Also saw the cover and was interested. It's a Western. It has a great cast. Paul Newman, Stacy Keach, a bunch of people are in this movie. So look forward to checking it out. Warner Archive strikes again. Then we have Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 by Jeff Burr. An underrated kind of, like, I don't want to call him a journeyman, but gun for a hire director. Did a lot of sequels. Did a lot of cool movies, though, like The Night of the Scarecrow. He did, he did 3 sequels at least. 4 or 5. Puppet Master 4 and 5. Stepfather 2. Pumpkinhead 2. Leatherface. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this one, but it's got Viggo Mortensen in it, or Viggo Mortensen and Ken Foray. And, do not hate it. I remember kind of liking it. Then we have Village of the Damned. That was also Warner Archive, so is this one. From Warner Archive, I just repeated myself. Never saw the original Village of the Damned. I don't even hate the John Carpenter remake, though, so I'm looking forward to checking this out. I'm sure it's much better. Superfly, Blaxploitation from Warner Archive. Not seen Superfly. Look forward to checking it out. Then we have Dark of the Sun. This looks really cool. Jim Brown, man. Love Jim Brown. 30 Dozen. I know that the guys from Pure Cinema Podcast are involved in the commentary, so that's something to look forward to for me. So, yep. And then we have a Dark Force, The Swinging Barmaids. Wanted to check this out. I heard it's like an exploitation, like, serial killer movie. I don't know. Never seen it. Interested for sure. It's got a Code Red thing on there. And then we have Mirror Mirror 2, Raven Dance. I got it because you buy those two together, they're much cheaper. But, yep. You know, I don't think I've seen the Mirror Mirror movies, but I have that old DVD set in this room. And then we have Out of the Blue, a DVD, which somebody picked for Patreon, I believe. So, I picked it up. Not seen this one. Looks pretty cool. Alright, thanks guys. Back to the video. Okay guys, I have one new Patreon shout out for you, and it is Jason Willard. Jason is a great guy. He always supports indie cinema. He's a big fan of Dustin Mills and a lot of other guys like Henrik Koto. He buys a lot of stuff, and he's a great guy. I've met him at conventions and stuff. Really cool dude. Loves his martial arts movies, loves his horror movies. Great guy. But if you guys want to get involved with the Patreon, all the links are below. But as always, thank you very much for watching guys, and have a good one.